And we are rolling on July 13th at UCLA. It's a beautiful sunny day. The sunshine is shining. There are no princesses outside today, unfortunately. And Michelle is going to share with us her experiment in communicating respect non-verbally. Begin.
Okay, so hi, my name is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
So I grew up in a Mexican household, and to me, respect means greeting everyone I meet with a smile, and saying please and thank you, and just respecting my elders, among many other things. However, I had never thought about the concept of nonverbal respect while repeating the mantra, I respect you, in my head. So with this experiment, I was able to do that, and within this experiment, I had 3 experiences, one good, one bad, and one ugly. So for the good experience, I was getting some lunch at Panda Express, and I approached the counter before she could ask me what I wanted. I asked her how her day was going. And she looked at me for a split second, a little shocked that someone had taken the time to acknowledge her and ask her. But then she proceeded to tell me that she was stressed because she had a chemistry midterm. And coincidentally, I'm in that class too, so I was like, oh, I'm really stressed too. And then we just had a good little short conversation. And before I left, I told her to have a great day and to good luck on her midterm, and that I would see her in class. So I thought that was a very positive experience. For the bad, I was at Ackerman bookstore buying some textbooks, and there was a really long line, so I was just standing there looking around. And when I saw a group of girls standing in the corner just talking amongst themselves, so I made eye contact with one of them, and I smiled, and I tried to put out the mantra of I respect you, but she kind of just rolled her eyes at me and turned to her friends and laughed. So that made me feel kind of sad because my actions had been misinterpreted. For the ugly experience, I didn't really have anything too ugly, but I thought this was the ugliest one. I recently started volunteering at Ronald Reagan as a nurse volunteer. And so I was walking around doing rounds with patients when I saw a maintenance man. And I smiled at him, and he was like, oh, are you new here? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like, you know, how's your day going? And I thought he received my respect in a good way, but then he proceeded to ask me how old I was and if I wanted to go out with him, and I was like, oh goodness. So I was kind of shocked that he had misinterpreted the whole thing. And I didn't really know what to do, so I was like, oh, I better go. Like, it's time for me to go. So what I learned through all of this is that sometimes your respect can be misinterpreted because other people don't have the same meaning of respect as you do. But that doesn't mean you should stop putting out respectful vibes into the world. And I hope to continue being respectful to everyone I meet as I continue on at UCLA. Thank you.
307. Okay. We're somewhere like here.
Hello, my name is Mercedes.
Hi, Mercedes.
What I really enjoyed about your speech is that it had a really well flow, like from start to finish, from your introduction to your end. So it was organized. So I enjoyed that.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Pamela.
Hi, Pamela. Louder speech voice, please.
An improvement you can make is maybe walking.
Yeah. Remember, we want to move 3 times? Tell us about your morning and show me that you can move 3 times.
So this morning I woke up and then I had some breakfast. And then I tried to practice my speeches for a while. And then I walked to campus. Now I'm here.
Okay, well, you didn't show me just exactly as I instructed, so let me tell you the instructions again, okay, Michelle? We walk 3 steps to the right. 1, 2, 3, and you tell us you brushed your teeth and everything was good, and you know, blah blah blah. You had breakfast. Then 5 steps to the left, leading first with your left foot, and don't always cheat it forward, and then working this side of the room, but still glancing over at that side of the room, and then stopping, coming to the power stance. And then blah blah blah. I had lunch and life was beautiful. And then I walked the class and 3 steps back to center. You want to end up back in the center of the room. So left, right, left, center. Okay. Now that will also relax you and give you more confidence, because if you just stand there and you're kind of holding all the tension in, you can increase your nervousness, whereas if you walk a little, the body releases some of the tension in the walking. I liked your speech. I agree with Mercedes. You had a good flow and it was well organized. You started with your Mexican heritage and being taught to be respectful, which was, I would like you to have tied back to that in the end, come the full circle. See? So whatever you start with, tie back to it in the end. And respect your elders. Da, 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 da. You will see when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube that you were constantly playing with the hem of your dress. And I don't know why. Is it about to break or something? But you kept touching it. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Well, you were, and so be aware of that. Be aware of what you're doing non-verbally, because it can be distracting. Okay. I'd like to also see you. You're doing it now too. The purpose of the power stance, your feet wider than your shoulders, and to kind of lock your legs so you don't sway. And that's the purpose. So try not to sway, and you'll see you're doing a lot of swaying when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube. So, the story of your first story of Panda Express was excellent, exactly as the experiment should go. You broke pattern. She didn't blow you off. She opened up and talked about her chem midterm. You had that in common, and it worked out, and there was a connection. That was good. The bad was when you smiled at a group of girls and it was misinterpreted, and she turned and made fun of you to her friends, and this disrespected you in a way, made you feel bad. What did you think she was thinking or doing when she turned back to her friends?
I think maybe she thought I was kind of giving her a dirty look or something.
A dirty look, or hitting on her, or some weird thing or something. But yeah, a lot of people have had this. Why are you smiling at me? You know, and so people have a lot of different interpretations of smiles, and it's kind of sad. Some people are suspicious. Some people give meaning to it. But and I was going to say this before too. Remember, meaning is in the receiver. So you may mean respect with your smile, but she may think something else when she sees it. See, so that's why, even though you're pure in heart, you have to realize meaning is in the receiver. As for the dirty old man at the Ronald Reagan Hospital, we've had this experience, and you do have to be careful. And there are easy ways to, I have a boyfriend, thank you, I'm flattered, bye, get out of here, you know, just whatever, you know. But you have to be careful because many men are so. The heart is a lonely hunter, and many men interpret a smile as "she wants me," and right, and that's what we have to be careful about and avoid when we're doing this respect experience. Remember, if your heart is pure and you're doing this purely as respect, most of the time it will work out fine. What you learned was well stated. Your conclusion was good except for no tie back. So excellent job. Learn to walk and move and don't sweat. Thank you. Okay, next. What was the time on that one? Thank you. Everyone initial the roll sheet? Yeah. Hang on just a moment, please. Let me put it away. Okay. Daniel stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, making sure all phones and computers are away, communicating respect non-verbally, finding friend eyes near the front and center, saying name for the love, say your speech.
Hi, my name is Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
So there are two ways to communicate. There's verbally and non-verbally. Verbally is a little easier to communicate because it's just words coming out of your mouth and it's more straightforward. Non-verbally is a little harder because it's gestures and physical movement, but sometimes it can be easy at just showing kind eyes. So knowing this, I thought to myself, verbal communication, even though it's easier, it's not inferior to non-verbal communication. We've all heard before that actions speak louder than words. So to me, this means that you, no matter how you communicate, you can always show your intentions. And so by knowing this, throughout the experience of showing respect non-verbally, I had 3 different experiences: good, bad, and ugly. So starting off with the good, one day I noticed that someone was coming in through the door of the lobby, and I was about to enter the elevator. So I hold the elevator door open, and I smiled at the lady, and she was a little shocked to see that someone had actually held the door open for her, and so she smiled back at me. And so right when the door closed, I guess this made me a little bit more approachable with my act of kindness. So she started to initiate a conversation with me. And so with this, it was a good experience because in the end, we ended up exiting the elevator, laughing, and creating a new bond. Now, this wasn't always the case while showing respect. Going on to my bad story. One day, I saw someone carrying a load of books and papers, and they were struggling, and I saw that. And so as they were walking, they dropped a book, and they didn't notice. So I ran up, I grabbed the book, and I handed it to them. And I handed it to them with a smile. The lady just looked at me with a blank stare, snatched the book from me, and left. This got me a little upset because I thought to myself, if someone shows an act of kindness to you and respects you, you should at least appreciate it and show that respect back. So this ended up having a really negative response in my head. In my head, I was like, well, wow, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to be nice to you. I'm not going to show respect. And so this then continued onto my ugly story. I was in the elevator again, and these 2 girls walked in, and I saw they were tired and a little irritated. And so the elevator in my apartment isn't the safest and not the best. It's really slow, and sometimes it makes unwanted stops at different floors, even though the button isn't pushed. So that happened to us, and it was the floor right before the 2 girls we're exiting on. And so I saw, and usually when the door opens and it takes forever to close, it doesn't bother me. But I saw that these two girls were bothered. So I tried to push the door close button. And so as I was doing this, the lady next to me tried to do the same, and our hands accidentally hit each other. And so I excused myself, I said sorry, I looked at her and smiled. Her response was the worst. She rolled her eyes at me and said, yeah. And that was it. And so I tried to show my act of kindness to her twice, and yet I still got a negative response. This shows me that it's not always rainbows and butterflies in the world of respect, but we should still initiate that respect, because if no one did, the world would go downhill from this. And it also showed me that nonverbal respect and verbal respect are at the same levels and should always be shown. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. 412? Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
I liked how you moved around for like the different parts like we did in the whole
Good movement, yes. Improvement.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
I like your speech, but maybe help with more confidence.
Yeah. Do you, let's talk about that for a moment, Daniel. Do you feel you have confidence, lack confidence, want more confidence? What's that all about? Undo your hands, let it shake out confidence. Here, there you go. Let's talk about confidence. How do you feel?
Well, it's because like all of high school I've done speeches, but it's been a while. It's been like over a year. So I guess I just like need to get back to doing it more and build up that confidence again.
I see. Okay, yeah. Well, and you can fake it till you make it and act like you own the room, you know. Okay. Well, you started off with sort of these, what I would call observations about verbal and nonverbal communication, which were interesting. And I liked your idea of kind eyes and that sort of thing. And I also liked your conclusion that nonverbal communication is not inferior, to verbal communication. And so, this is actions speak louder than words, of course. And it's just a challenge to repeat the mantra and let that generate from inside you what actions will come, like opening doors and being thoughtful of others, etc. I saw you stumbling a little bit at times in your speech, and I felt this may have been that you were trying to memorize this kind of word for word instead of knowing just the parts of the speech extemporaneously and just knowing the outline and saying it differently each time, okay? So, on your first action, the elevator door, which I'm assuming that was generated because you were saying your mantra, at least I hope it was, you got a positive response and you had a conversation with the woman that came into the elevator, and that was positive. Your bad response was, and it was kind of interesting. Someone drops a book. Books are expensive, and yet she almost gave you a dirty look, like you've embarrassed me. You showed me up. I dropped my book. How dare you make me look like an idiot or something? Gosh, I agree with you. People should be thankful. But your response, like, well, I'm not going to pick up people's books from now on, if this is the response I'm going to get, is exactly wrong. This is when you repeat the mantra again and say, I respect you, you must be having a bad day. It was the impulse in being respectful that made you pick up the book, and that is what we want to promote in ourselves. So we're always coming off as a respectful person when we're speakers and when we're as human beings. The girls on the elevator that you touched And she rolled her eyes and said, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. But I like the way you sort of came out of it and said, it's not always rainbows and butterflies in the world of respect. I like that phrase. That is true. That's why I fashioned the prompt as the good, the bad, the ugly, as you saw from wherever she is, you know. Can we go out sometime? How old are you? You know, wow. You know, from a smile, right? Okay. Yeah. And I like your final conclusion that nonverbal respect can be just as important. I hope you will continue practicing your mantra. And I would say also just slow down just a little bit for the international audience so you can be more clearly understood by everyone. Thank you. This is the last one?
No,
One more, okay. Nice red shirt. Yeah, good. Yeah, shake. Put your hands by your side. Shake out the nervousness. Don't hold your hands. Yeah, that's right. Don't put them behind your back. Yeah, that's right. Just let them be there. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Now take a step forward. You're not in the power stance, so put your feet wider than your shoulders. You're a tripod. Your feet wider. Feet. Shoes wider than your shoulders. More. Yeah, good. Now flex your legs a little so you don't sway. That's right. You're a tripod. See this tripod? See how strong it is? It doesn't move. See? That's what you want to be, a tripod. Okay, Eve stands before us, managing attention, making sure all phones are away, computers are closed, saying the mantra, I respect my audience, and really meaning it, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center, saying your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, my name's Eve.
Hi, Eve.
Today I will give a speech about respect. Everyone knows respect. It's like common sense in our daily life. And we can't just give a French kiss with strangers we met for several days because that will be a disaster. And neither should we ignore the smile of people passing by. Anyway, showing respect needs skills. And today I will give you 3 stories about respect. Good one, bad one, and ugly one. First, let's talk about good one. And it was when I went to Target at Saturday. And when I went there and opened the door, I noticed that there was an old man behind me. And for my kindness, of course, I held the door for him. And like everybody I treated before, we smiled and looked at each other. He said thank you, and I said you're welcome. But if the story ended here, it will be a simple one, but a nice one. But it continues. When I finished my shopping, I noticed that there were 3 bags hanging on arms, and I also had a milk tin on my hand. So my both hands were occupied, so it's hard for me to open the door. But at that moment, I saw that gentleman, and it seemed like that he also wanted to leave. So he found me and my trouble, and he went ahead, and opened the door for me. I was really happy at that moment because it's like what you did well harvest a good ending, and it made me feel that I was really respected. But if there's a good, there must be a bad. So let's tell you about the bad story. It was when me and my friends told Gilbert to go back to the dormitory of UCLA, and when we got out of the car, like anybody else, we said thank you and bye to that driver. But this time was different. The driver didn't answer us, even didn't look at us. Well, it's like show respect is your right, but it's not your obligation. And it will be pretty awkward. But the most important things, when I got out of the car, I saw that driver show the face that he is tired of coping with us. I think it shouldn't be the face that, especially when your customer didn't go away and we didn't do something wrong, and it make people uncomfortable. And finally, here comes the worst, the ugly one. The same day I met that gentleman, I watched a movie, and when I got my seat, I noticed that there was a little child sitting behind me, and he was really cute with brown hair and big eyes. So I just couldn't stop looking at him. And his mother found me and my eyes, and she smiled at me and I smiled back. But when the movie started, it turned out that kid was not as nice as he looked. He just kept kicking my seat back, and I was like, oh, did I buy the 4D film ticket? Because it's like taking a roller coaster, and it's a new experience for me, but it's really ruined the whole movie. I just couldn't focus on what's going on the screen. So what the kid didn't respect is not only the people in the cinema, but also the movie itself. From the experience, I learned that disrespect could really harm people, especially for those sensitive and shy like me. And it reminds me that I should try my best to not be those people who bother others. Respect is an important tool for us to connect to others. It's penetrating every single setting in our lives. Being respect is a skill, but showing back respect is also a skill. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You're right at the wall. You stayed at the wall your whole speech, so come forward. Don't be afraid of your audience, okay? Yeah, what was the number?
419.
419. Thank you. Okay.
Hi, my name is Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Your story is very engaging. You made the audience laugh, and I like the conclusion. That's really
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Angelo.
Hi, Angelo.
I like your speech too, but I think you could have improved like your body language. I noticed you were swaying around a lot. You were standing up there.
You'll see it tonight on YouTube. Okay? So you gotta lock and load with your legs, okay? So you don't sway. Okay? Eve, yeah. I want you to start slower. Because you were a little hard to understand in the beginning until we got used to your vocal pattern. Okay? So start slower and overpronounce your words in the beginning. Stay in the power stand. Feet wider than your shoulders. I thought your introduction was intriguing. You talked about French kissing people. And I thought that was an interesting and intriguing thing to say in a speech for someone you didn't know would be a disaster, and that's correct. So that was an intriguing introduction. On your main body, the good. You had a positive experience opening the door for a gentleman, and you got the karma, the cause and effect back immediately because the same gentleman was able to reciprocate to you in the end, and so you lived the lesson of doing good will come back to you, or the saying, what goes around comes around, is very true. So I like the story. Okay, good story. Undo your hands, let them be by your side, let them hang there, yeah, good. The bad story. The Uber driver. What I couldn't tell from this was Were you saying the mantra the whole time you were in the car, when you were getting out, when you were leaving? Or did you just say thank you and he grunted and drove off? I couldn't tell how much the respect mantra played in the interaction. But I know Uber drivers have a tough time because they make little money and it's a tough life for them. Anyway, the ugly. You had good humor in telling us about a cute blonde-haired, was it a boy or a girl? A boy who smiled and was cute as anything, but then began kicking your seat, and as you put it, turned this 3D movie into a 4D, which I thought was very clever and funny and cute. I like your sense of humor, so that was good. And you tried non-verbally to look around and say, hey, you're upsetting me, you punk. Or instead of moving, but finally it subsided, I guess. But it ruined your mood. I would have moved immediately after the second kick if it didn't stop, because that's a long time to wait. Yeah, but I'm different, I guess. What I learned, yes, I liked your observations under your hands about what I learned. And I liked your conclusion and tie back, because you said it penetrates every second of our lives, and you're right, it does. And it is a skill, and I hope after this summer it becomes a habit that you will practice the rest of your life. Thank you, Eve. Last one. Okay. Okay, Kelly stands before us, managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, my name is Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
And I'll be talking about respect. Why is respect important? Respect not only keeps our society civil, but allows us to build friendly relationships with other people by showing consideration to one another. 2 weeks ago, we were assigned a respect experiment to show respect non-verbally to everyone we meet while repeating the respect mantra in our minds. From my experience, if you show respect to somebody, they will often reciprocate, although this is not always the case. I'll be telling you several results about my experiment: the good, the bad, and the ugly. So starting with the good. 2 weeks ago, I went to Yoshinoya at the bomb shelter at around 2 p.m., past the usual lunch hour. With respect in mind, I went up to the employee, smiled at her, ordered my regular teriyaki chicken bowl, and gave her my name to be identified for the order. So while she was processing all this, I asked her, how was your day? She said, good. How's yours? I said, good also. And so, when the food came out and she gave me my bowl, I smiled at her and thanked her, continuing to show her my respect. The next day, I went back to the same Yoshinoya, and the same employee was there. Before I even ordered anything or gave her my name, she greeted me, hi Kelly, how's it going? And I was pleasantly surprised that the small act of respect the day before made such an impact on her to remember me and greet me the day after. So now I'll be talking about the bad. I was heading to my class, and in order to get to my classroom, you have to take the elevator to reach the 5th floor. I entered the elevator, and as the doors were closing, I saw a lady rushing in to get into the elevator. So I immediately pushed the button to open the doors. She walked in, and hoping to show my respect to her, I smiled. But she did not look at me, and continued looking at her phone the whole entire time during the elevator ride. I was a bit awkward. It was a bit awkward, but maybe she might have been busy reading emails. And now I'll be telling you about my ugly story. I went to a volunteer office in the health sciences building to turn in to fill in my volunteer forms so I could volunteer during the summer. I went up to the lady in charge of the paperwork and said hi. She glared at me, but I continued on, telling her that I sent her an email the day before and we scheduled an appointment so I could fill out the paperwork. Thanks for your help. She didn't say anything back and just handed me a stack of paperwork. I took it, and while filling it out, I wanted to make small talk with her. So I asked her how her day was. She responded, "Don't miss the signature at the bottom of the 3rd page." That response was not what I was expecting. But I told myself I had to keep showing her respect. So when I left the office, I smiled and thanked her. She didn't say anything, and so I left feeling quite unwelcome and uncomfortable. So what I've learned that although respect is not always reciprocated, but when it is, it leaves both sides feeling more cheerful. The simple acts of respect, either it be looking at somebody in the eyes when we talk, opening doors for other people, making small talk, or sincerely saying thank you, can brighten another person's day and also yours. Showing respect does not require much effort, but it can lead to building amiable relationships with other people, making both sides happier. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. 6 minutes.
No, 3:46.
Oh, 3. Over here, yes please.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
I really liked your speech, and you were really loud and like a very expressive. You had a very expressive voice, which made it really interesting.
Okay, thank you. Improvement.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I think you could just like look more directly at people. But I really like it. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, Kelly, it was a good speech. I'd like you to start slower and let people get used to you. You have a good voice, but you don't want to start with such a strong, come on, just start ease into the speech a little easier, because you don't have anywhere to go when you start so strongly. You want to sort of peak at the end, that's what we're looking for in terms of a process. The concept of the eye contact is with everyone in the room, 3 to 5 seconds. And that's longer than you think, and if it's longer than 5 seconds, people will think you're stalking them. But try to work on that and try to move it around. So go over here and then back over there, and then don't just systematically go up and down the room, person to person. So the good, yeah, the bomb shelter and the lady that remembered your name the next day. You were impressed. Yeah. There's a book that I was given by my father when I graduated from high school that really changed my life, called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And really impressive book. One of the things that he says in the book is do your best to remember people's names, because they like to be remembered. They want you to know their names, and they will appreciate it if you do. And you're living proof of what Dale Carnegie wrote 50 years ago, that the most beautiful sound in the English languages or any language is a person's name, hearing their name and being remembered and acknowledged. Hi, Kelly. What? Kelly, she remembered me. Wow. See? So that was a good thing. And it started with you being respectful. And it would be even more wonderful if you started the process too, and looked at her name tag, remembered her name, and that sort of thing 2. On the bad. You held the elevator door. She was on her phone. She thought she had a right to have the door held by you. And you felt awkward. But like I said, that's when you repeat the mantra even more and you just say, I respect you. I'm sorry your mother didn't raise you with more manners, And, we're in a society of telephone and earphones, this is the new communication, right? Sadly. But that's when you repeat the mantra. The lady in the volunteer office should be reported. If she works for UCLA, she has no right to act like that. That's just unacceptable. But let's just chalk it up to her having a bad day. But you did the right thing by continuing to show her respect. I like what you said in your review of what you learned. And yes, I also want to say to you that I think the time you stumbled was you were almost trying to memorize the speech word for word. Don't do that. Memorize it extemporaneously. Practice it and say it different each time. Just remember the big picture, the big thoughts, and you'll be better off. Your canais. Let me compliment Kelly. She had her 3 goals that she wanted to achieve at the bottom of her speech. I want you to have those each time, okay? And her canais were work toward making my opening sticky, which is, and I appreciate someone's now starting to talk about the information in the text, because we do want to be sticky from the beginning. Talk with confidence and don't talk too fast. I think we still need to work on some of that. And work toward making the speech more concise. You started with a rhetorical question. Not my favorite way to start a speech. You could start with a poem, with a quote, with a story, with a joke. But you started with a question and then basically an expository example of what the assignment was. But overall, excellent job. Thank you.
No, that's
3:40. Oh, it's 2:56. So I guess we don't have time for any, okay, A's and B's. Be ready to go on Tuesday. Yeah.
When is our student, like the student introductions with our partners?
Yeah, you'll turn them in. So fill them out, type them up, and we will try to get to them if we have time at the end of each segment of the film, PC, and persuasive speech. But do complete them following the prompt. But we're not going to do the intro speeches next. Did everyone get that? We're doing the film speeches next. A's and B's, be ready. I will call on you. If you're not ready, you get a 0. Okay, so be ready. We will have one more respect speech. Who did I say had to redo it? Where is she? Yeah, okay, yeah. One more respect speech. Oh, no, 2 more. You have to do your respect speech. Do you understand the concept now?
so yeah. I need to talk about
Wait, before we lose everyone. Wait, hold on. You can talk to me afterward. What's your question?
So basically, so that we're supposed to watch a video and then use it online to review it on CCLD. Some kind of form.
He's talking about the self-evaluation.
Yeah, it's on CCL.
Then you have that next week, Tuesday, or?
Yeah. Turn it in next Tuesday, yeah. In the syllabus, there's one too.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You could use that one as your first one, but there's a form for the rest of the speeches on CCLE, is that what you call it? I call it the class website. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Can the B's please, if you're a B, raise your hand. Okay. Do you understand you have to be ready? You have to do 2 speeches.
2 speeches?
I'm talking to
okay.
Okay.
So, actually, I have an appointment on Thursday.
What?
I have an appointment on Thursday.
You have a doctor's appointment on Thursday?
Yeah, I scheduled it a month before this class ever started. So, I'm actually a C. So, if I come on Thursday, can I present a little bit earlier?
Yeah, you can do it Tuesday.
Okay. Just in case.
I'll call on you first.
I want to be first.
Okay. Yes, please. A question. Say your name.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
For the self-evaluation sheet, do you want us to print it out and write on it or type
Print
it
it
out?
out, write on it, type it out, then type on it. I'm not really a big fan of people that have crummy handwriting and write in pencil that I can't read very easily. But, yeah, I prefer typing, yeah. And one side. Type only on one side of the paper, please. Yeah. What's the other question? Ludo, did you have a question?
Yes, the exam questions. What does it mean?
I don't know what to say on the syllabus.
Oh, it's like in like three.
What?
Okay. It says on it.
Yeah, probably it's not the worst case scenario last meeting. Okay, any other questions? Our work is done. Okay, you have a question, right? Mr. Yoshi, you have a question?